we've seen like best-in-class companies use it. It's phenomenal. If you can do it, you never get caught by surprises. It's so true. And leaders hate getting caught by surprise. Like, oh, we're not going to hit our goals. Why? Right? Like, that shouldn't be a surprise. You should know that. But the reason why it's so hard to do is because you need to do all the things that I've mentioned earlier. You need to have your goals for like next year. You need to have your KRs. You need to make sure like there's an alignment across like marketing, sales, and customer success. And then you need to, as Alexander mentioned a few times, you need to have your data and trust your data. And that's not an easy feat, especially when you start doing so many different things and use different systems. Like, do you trust your data? But if you have all of them, then it becomes really interesting, because what we've done is you can start setting up like weekly. I call it. Let me see. Correct. Weekly pulse. I think. I don't know if it's on the site. Weekly pulse, which is like, I'm on the sales team. Those are my 5 KRs or 3 KRs. Every week I look at those, and every week I know if it's in the green, the orange, or the red. I don't get caught by surprise, right? By the end of the quarter, like, I know if I was able to move the needle or if I wasn't, or if I met my goals or not. So again, it's a muscle, and I think it's a discipline. I think just to touch on this is like a lot of the companies that we work with, no fault on their own, right? But there's a lot of like different directions that they take. But again, like, it's great to have a lot of ideas, but to just be able to say no, I think tells you a lot about a leader, because there's always going to be a shiny object. But if you don't go deep enough, you won't know if it's working or not. And I think that's important. The reason for this is because you don't have time to track, right? If you have a life cycle of 6 to 9 months, like, how do you know if it's going to work, right? So just really stick with your KR for the quarter, put things in the back burner, and track those. Track those every week. If you don't want to track those every week, track those on a bi-weekly. Don't get caught by surprise. And by sticking with those KRs, you also have a strong conviction around like how you want to drive your business, because those KRs were very thoughtful. When you set them up, you knew that those were the 3 or 5 biggest lever that will help you grow your business. And that's why a lot of the companies don't have the 3 or 5. They have like a dozen KRs. Because at the end of the day, they don't really know what's going to move it the most, right? But the ones that have conviction will stick with 3 to 5, because you can't have more than 5. You get stretched too thin and you just won't be able to execute. And based on that, you can learn from it. And what's interesting about that, and I'll stop there, is that the companies that do that and track those for the quarter and think about the KRs for the following quarter, most of the time, they stick with the same KRs and they want to get better at it, right? Because they were very diligent around picking them.